summer, as well as Baleba and Conor Gallagher. And ultimately, as we know, we ended up with nothing. On Costa, the only reason I've added Costa in, and I just think it's really important to add this in, is that Lammens is the goalkeeper, and I need to learn how to pronounce his name. So if anyone wants to teach me that, is it Layman or Lamen? I don't know. He's the goalkeeper. He's a young kid. He may well be our starting goalkeeper. He may well be a backup to Binder all season. We don't know. You know, on the one hand, we've got a new starting goalkeeper. On the other, we've got a bench player that might be good in a few years. Nobody knows at the moment. Nobody can say either way. It's not coming out from the club. Club aren't confirming it. Maybe we've got a new goalkeeper, maybe we haven't. If he is our new goalkeeper, maybe he's going to take time to settle. Maybe he'll be brilliant in 2 years. Maybe he'll be brilliant in 2 weeks. Maybe he'll be a total flop. We don't know. We're stepping into the unknown with the goalkeeper that we've signed. But I think it's also important when you see Costa on the thumbnail, and that could have been Donnarumma, that could have been Martinez. In fairness, it was never going to be Donnarumma. Donnarumma wanted ridiculous wages, but it could have been Costa, because Amorim likes Costa. It could have been Martinez. We did try for Martinez. The reason we didn't get a Martinez or a Costa is Andre Onana. It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to start singing Pratt Man. There's enough of that. But remember, if Onana had left, we would have bought a top experienced goalkeeper. The reason we ended up getting Lammens was because the funds available were not there to go and get the goalkeeper that maybe many of you wanted. So Onana is still a Man United player. Binder is still a Man United player. We therefore have to go for one that we've got to operate in budget. You can't bring in Emi Martinez and still have Binder and Onana on the payroll. And our inability, or to be honest with you, their reluctance to leave ultimately did cost us Costa or Martinez. And it's important to remember that. It's not just the midfielder that we've not bothered to get. We hindered ourselves in the goalkeeping market massively. And as I said yesterday, you know, I look at this strange decision in hindsight to bring Amorim in November. And I don't agree with that, by the way. But as I said yesterday, if you were bringing a manager in November and your big selling point is, well, it was worth the bad results because now he knows all the problems and we're going to solve them. Okay, you can justify that. But Amorim knew all the problems. They brought him in early. They killed his win ratio. They ended up with people Amorim out. And then they didn't give him what he needed in the summer. So that to me is always going to be incredible that we brought him in early. We ruined his, you know, confidence or reputation. He apparently learned all the problems, and then we went, yeah, we're not solving some of those. And here we are now. But on the goalkeeper, obviously, we're all in on Lammens. Hopefully, he's going to come into the team. He's going to be bloody brilliant. He's not going to make any mistakes, and it's, you know, we'll all live happily ever after. But remember, we would have had a more expensive, experienced goalkeeper if we'd been able to move Onana on. And I think a lot has been written about Man United going with their first choice in the circumstances, is what I would say. Lammens was...
Manchester United transfer target disappointed deal didn't happen after talks with Amorim and Martinez. Man United moved to sign a goalkeeper in the final stages of the summer transfer window. Manchester United finally moved to sign a goalkeeper on transfer deadline day after a poor start to the new season from both Andre Onana and Altay Bayındır. Ruben Amorim wanted to refresh his options in goal all summer, but the position was viewed as a secondary priority, with the primary focus on an attacking overhaul instead. United spent roughly £200 million on Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, and Benjamin Sesko before they agreed a fee of £18.2 million to bring Senne Lammens to the club from Royal Antwerp on deadline day. Even on the final morning of the European window, it was unclear which goalkeeper United would move for, amid rival interest in Aston Villa star Emiliano Martinez as well. United had already seen a loan inquiry for Martinez rejected back in July. With the 33-year-old reportedly disappointed, a deadline day move never materialized after he had been confident he would move to Old Trafford. A report from The Athletic claims it was an open secret around Villa's training ground that Martinez wanted to leave this summer, and he had reportedly informed teammates and staff he would be on the move. It is understood his representatives had been in talks with United since the start of the year, and that Martinez had even spoken to both Amorim and international teammate Lisandro Martinez about a possible move to Manchester. Villa had kept tabs on Lammens as their own possible replacement for Martinez in the final hours of the window, after they regarded the 23-year-old Belgian to be more consistent than Porto star Diogo Costa. However, it was United that opted for Lammens instead and left Martinez without the deadline day lifeline he had banked on. The report also claims Martinez was at Bodymore on Monday, confidently waiting for United and Amorim to ask him to get to Manchester to complete a move. Much to his disappointment, the call never came. In the end, there was no formal offer, as United completed a deal to sign Lammens and Martinez remained at Villa Park. Speaking this week, Argentina boss Lionel Scaloni insisted the goalkeeper was still happy despite missing out on his dream transfer move. "I saw Emiliano doing well," he said. "In the end, his transfer didn't happen, but yesterday was his birthday and I saw him happy. He looked good. Obviously, he must have been excited about playing for Manchester United, as they said, but he's a humble guy who is already thinking about us and returning to his club, which is what he needs to think about. But I saw him doing well." Emi Martinez thinks Ruben Amorim has sold Man United player who is a little treasure. Emi Martinez believes that Manchester United have sold a little treasure in Alejandro Garnacho. The goalkeeper was omitted from Unai Emery's matchday squad on Sunday as they suffered a 3-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. The boss confirmed he wasn't focused on the fixture amid speculation over a potential transfer to Old Trafford. Whilst Ruben Amorim insists that he's content with his goalkeeping options of Andre Onana and Altay Bayindir, momentum is building around the World Cup winner making an 11th-hour switch to Manchester. However, Martinez won't be thrilled that the Portuguese boss has parted ways with one of his international colleagues, following the young winger's £40 million switch to Chelsea. When the young winger earned his first Argentina cap in June 2023, the goalkeeper was full of praise for Garnacho's qualities both on and off the pitch. Chatting to TYC Sports at the time, he said, "He is a very humble guy. He came to work, he didn't talk a lot. He is very eager to play. The truth is that he's a little treasure, and I hope we can mold him so that he gives us as much as Angel Di Maria." Whilst Martinez might be saddened by the departure of Garnacho from the club he could potentially join in the coming hours, he still has a recognizable face ahead of him in United's defense. During Argentina's memorable World Cup triumph in 2022, the heroic goalkeeper branded Lisandro Martinez an animal, as the duo helped their nation claim their third golden trophy, and their first since 1986. The defender has been absent from the United squad with a cruciate knee ligament injury since last season, but is aiming for a comeback to action following the international break. Meanwhile, the Villa goalkeeper could provide the solution to Amorim's goalkeeping dilemma, as both current shot stoppers have struggled to win over supporters and pundits since the campaign began. Onana has featured just once for the Red Devils this term, and the disappointing penalty shootout defeat to Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup. While the goalkeeper did stop one penalty, he was unable to prevent 2 goals from finding United's net during normal time, and has subsequently been benched in favor of Bayindir again. The Turkish international has been selected for all 3 of United's Premier League fixtures, but his performances thus far have not inspired much confidence. Bayindir has let in 4 goals across 3 matches, including a brace from newly promoted Burnley on Saturday. Speaking about the potential departure of his first-choice goalkeeper, Emery remained as evasive as possible, as he simply mentioned Martinez's replacement, Marco Bizzo, repeatedly to journalists. When pressed further regarding the 32-year-old's unavailability, he added, "He was not available. Tomorrow is the deadline, and we will see how we finish. We need the players focused and 100%.